And welcome back, clanmates, to Jalapeña, a Gargoyles Garcast, where myself and my friend VHS Jase are delving into the delightful and dark world of Disney's Gargoyles, because this is a Disney afternoon cartoon. This was on Disney. This was made by Disney. Disney did this. That being said, this episode is the highly controversial, the one that gets many people's panties in a proverbial twist, Deadly Force, written by Michael Reeves.
Was it controversial at the time?
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, this one did not re-air for quite a long time. And when it did re-air, it was edited. The version that you see on Disney Plus is actually edited. Not a lot. There's probably less than a second or two that's cut out, but we have the stills from the deleted scenes, so be sure to stick around for that. So
yeah, the version I saw was pretty well Disney on point.
Oh yeah, the scene where the birds come out of the window and like flying around, going, "Wake up, Elisa, wake up!" That was a little bit too much. I'm just kidding. That doesn't happen. So let's just get into it. This is the gun episode. Every show in the 90s seemed to have an episode about the dangers of guns. Gargoyles was no different. They featured guns, and I don't mean like laser guns. I don't mean like sci-fi pew-pews. I mean like guns. And several
service revolvers.
Yes. So they decided to do an episode about guns are dangerous. Keep in mind, this is not an episode about guns are bad. It's just an episode about guns are dangerous, and there's a nice little balance to it. Although it does get a little preachy at times, there is a balance that I think this episode maintains that is actually quite fascinating. So let's get into it. We open up this episode with a robbery perpetrated by a guy we have not met yet. This is Tony Dracon.
Oh, he's a lovely fellow.
Oh yes, he's a
charmer.
He's like a rich kid. I don't know. I think that's part of his character is that his parents were rich, and so now he just thinks nobody can touch him. He's got that what was that BS disease that they came up with? Affluenza. He's got affluenza.
Well, I tell you what, after 5 seconds of him on screen, I wanted to punch a character in the face.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I just do not care for this man. And he's just, I don't know. With Xanatos, you kind of see a little air of respectability. With Demona, there's like this air of she thinks that she's doing the good thing. With the pack, they have their own little motivations. This guy's just a douchebag.
Yep.
He's a professional douchebag.
That would be the picture you would see in the dictionary under the word douchebag. Would be that exact picture.
I believe this is Richard Grieco.
No doubt.
I believe it's him.
Are you talking about the If Looks Could Kill Richard Grieco?
I don't know about that one. I'm thinking of like he was on 21 Jump Street for a couple of years.
Oh, you don't remember the film he was in?
I don't
If
remember.
Looks Could Kill, he plays like this douchebag James Bond kind of character. All right, check us out on the VHS file one day because that film's going on the weird.
That's probably what got him this role, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tony gets himself a bunch of projectile weapons, and those are the laser pew-pews. Ironically, he doesn't use the laser pew-pews are a story point, but not what the episode is about. The Gargoyles awaken.
Guns, though. They
are very cool guns. And they do get used a lot in the future. I think Disney came along and is like, you can't use real guns anymore. You have to use sci-fi guns.
But so cool because you see this, what it is the actual thing that takes you out. Can't be seen. It's invisible.
Yeah, I thought that was a very cool.
Yeah, and then the lasers, dude, is really just for the people to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I'm jumping ahead because this is the only picture of Owen we have. Owen is a very stone cold person. He's not really good. He's not really evil. He's kind of, you look at him and you're like, well, he's just a boring pencil pusher. I'm going to tell you this right now. Do not underestimate Owen.
Well, I do right now.
Do not underestimate this man. Because there's more to Owen than what appears. So the Gargoyles wake up after this weapons shipment has been stolen, and Broadway immediately, as my grandmother used to say, lights a shuck out of there because he's got a movie he wants to go see. It's a cowboy movie. And he's very excited about it. He loves this movie. He's seen it multiple times. And then Hudson comes up and says, movies, video games, television. It's so weird. It's like nobody knows what's real and what's not. That's what we call a red herring moral.
Yeah.
He's there to give you the distraction moral before, the poop hits the fan. Because the first time I saw this, is gonna, oh yeah, Broadway's gonna think he's a cowboy or something, and he's gonna get into trouble. Ooh, no.
Yeah. Like, honestly, what I was thinking when he did that, he's going to steal the gun, and there's going to be a whole episode him running around like he's a police officer.
It's gonna be like shooting
That's
pigeons, like pew pew pew. It's just like a video game. They'll pop back up any minute. Oh no!
Mind you, he's also, besides what he eventually does, which is the more horrific crime, but he's stealing popcorn too, by the way.
Yes, he is. He does steal popcorn, and he's stealing what do you call it? He's theater hopping, which is also a crime. Don't do that. Don't hop theaters because you'll get caught. This is online ticketing. What you do is you get on the app and you see which seats are empty and you set in those. Otherwise, you'll get caught. Allegedly. Anyway, don't listen to me, kids. Don't listen to Uncle Jay. Anyway, Lisa, in the meantime, really wants to bring in Tony Dracon, and she goes and she has a rather heated discussion with her captain. And her captain is, in my opinion, a very cool character, because you usually see like this antagonistic relationships between detective and captains in TV shows and movies. This captain's actually very supportive. She's like,
I was expecting.
I want to
drag your backside in the office. What the hell are you doing? You know, that kind of captain.
She's like, listen, I want this guy nailed too, but we have to go by the book because he's going to slip through our fingers. Elisa's kind of a hothead at times, and I think that the captain is a great foil for her, just to kind of slow her down. I'm also gonna say, for 90s representation, I think that this was the first gay character on the Disney Afternoon.
Oh, that is a big deal for Disney.
They never out and out said that she was, but they drop a big, huge hint in season 2.
This is huge. When you start talking about that, you got to remember, Disney of the 80s, was a very conservative organization. And in the 90s, you're starting to see it become, bit by bit, is the beginning of the progression age for Disney. So this was, in hindsight, a very important moment then.
Absolutely. Elisa confronts Tony Dracon, and you find out Tony Dracon is just a big, huge masochist. He's just he's misogynist, not masochist. I don't know. He might be a masochist. We don't follow him 100% of the time. He's a huge douchebag. He belittles her.
That's why he needs a fanfare. Every time he walks into a room, we should just hear that effect going, douchebag.
Yes, he really does. Meanwhile, the movie's over with. Broadway's flying home, doing finger guns, which honestly, how many of us have not done this? Yeah, it's great. I love finger guns. Pew 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 pew. He flying home, and he stops by Elisa's house because she's cooking, of course. And while she's in the kitchen cooking, he spies her gun in her coat. And of course, he goes over and does the responsible thing and plays with it. And it goes off. And I love the way that this scene is staged, because there's no music. All you hear is the steak sizzling. And I think the second that there's no music, you know something is terribly, terribly wrong. And here's the scene that is edited out of the Disney Plus version. Children, please avert your eyes, because there's blood inside of us. This scene is not in the Disney Plus version. You don't see the scene of Elisa lying on the floor with the blood.
No, you get a close-up.
Yeah. It's just a great scene, just the way that they do it.
Wow.
It is horrific. It is just, it's scary, almost.
It's a confusing moment because, like, from my perspective, I said, like, wow, they really did that. And I'm like, wow, was their safety not on? You know, it brings it, and they do that in this episode. They bring into question not only Brooklyn's choices, but her choices.
That's the balance that I was talking about. Because it could have been an easily guns are bad, guns are bad, guns are bad episode. But
she made mistakes too.
No, Elisa says, I messed up too because I wasn't careful with the way that I stored it. Yeah, safety wasn't on. That's a major thing. But yeah, it's a huge, heavy scene, and Broadway just panics, and he does the worst thing. Yeah, the Broadway just does the worst thing possible. He picks her up, takes her to the hospital, and drops her off like a sack of potatoes and runs away.
Yeah.
Broadway is basically just an overgrown kid, and he doesn't know how to deal with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what he does do is he goes ape poopy, looking for the people who are behind. I can't remember. He's like trying to find the gun buyer at this point.
Yeah, what happens? I think he's just out for revenge, and then he comes across them,
right? And then
he turns his focus onto that. If that somehow is going to make right what he did, which
Poor
he's not
Glasses,
willing to
by
face
the
up
way.
with.
Poor Glasses. He's just a member of this dude's entourage. He's about to get his head crushed. So there's lots of great scenes in this episode. I'm trying to keep my pictures down minimum. Otherwise, I'd have like 80 pictures of each one of these.
It's hard,
we're introduced to the Mazza family here.
Yeah.
I can't remember their names, but there's Mama Mazza, Daddy Mazza, and Derek. Derek is her brother. We get more episodes with him later. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next Star Trek alum, the great Nichelle Nichols, as Elisa's mom. Yes. We get some more episodes with her later on as well. She never becomes like a major character, but she is the star of her own episode in season 2, and it's a great episode because you get to hear Nichelle Nichols tell African folk tales, and it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. So many of my pictures didn't make it on StreamYard. It's so funny. So Goliath visits Elisa in the hospital because Owen told him that Elisa was shot, and it's a very touching scene, I think, because they have this very deep friendship in between the two of them. And then Goliath is just like, yeah, I'm gonna find Tony Dracon, I'm gonna kill the hell out of him. And he meets Broadway, and they're just like, hey, we're gonna go kill the hell out of these people. And Broadway's like, oh, okay.
It's a great like ripple effect of his actions, isn't it? That it's affected all the other characters. Now Goliath is on a vengeance path now as well, but a misguided one. All because, all the way.
I just love this. It's like your dad trying to fix the tire and you behind him trying to hold the flashlight steady.
It's nice.
But the scene inside the warehouse has got so many great animations in it. This one right here, I think, to me, I never really thought of Broadway as like a BA character. Right there, he's pretty badass. He's about to kill somebody. Just the way he appears out of the shadows is just so great.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with him when he's in bad mood, that's for sure.
No, you certainly don't. So Goliath catches Tony and holds him over the rail, and he's about to eke bloody vengeance. Broadway finally does the right thing, and he admits to Goliath that he was the one who shot Elisa. And I love Goliath's reaction here, because at first it's disbelief, and then you get this feeling of, I'm angry right now, but I don't want to say anything to you because I'll probably kill the hell out of you next. But I don't know, just Keith David's performance.
We got a friend to visit.
Yeah,
I love that.
Keith David's performance is so understated that it really is. It's that sense of betrayal and shock, but at the same time, Goliath has got he's got the emotional maturity to know that I should not deal with this right now. I need to process this.
It's actually quite a realistic approach, because you know what I mean. Like, you could feel like that would happen. That's how someone would respond in real life. You know.
Oh yeah.
Not just going cartoonishly anger or, oh my God, what did you do?
It could have been. Another thing that I thought was really clever about this is that the buyer that was coming to buy the pew pew weapons was Owen.
Yeah.
Because Owen's very smart, and he knew he had to get the weapons off the street. So he was the one who bought them.
Very smart.
And of course, Goliath just like destroys all of them. which I
Which
thought
is
was
awesome, and then
Yeah.
not a thing anyone can do about that, really.
There is no room for pew pew weapons on this show. Only the real weapons. So yes, come with me. We have a friend to go visit, and that friend is Elisa Goliath. Broadway just has a wonderful scene with her where he apologizes. I love the staging here because I don't know. There's this mise en scène thing here where Broadway is down on Elisa's level, and that just shows how mournful he is and how sorry he is.
Yeah.
And he's standing in Goliath's shadow because he knows because Goliath is still probably going to kick his ass later, which it totally would. Yeah. But this it's just a terrific scene.
Beautiful moment.
Yes, that is completely ruined by funny captions. Sorry, I can't help myself.
It is a beautiful but it's funny, and but also in this show it was a great moment.
Yes,
handled so mature wise because what it did, it sent the lesson to the kids that if that did happen and you were in that scenario, it's still really important to be honest. And if you're going to be honest, like it's not always going to be you getting in trouble.
Yes.
So I thought it was the moral lesson for the kids was handled perfectly.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments in here where I think the moral becomes too heavy-handed. There's a scene with there's a scene whenever Elisa's being operated on, and you just hear the surgeon go, "Ugh, guns." It's like, that's a little too on the nose. Now the Broadway stuff where he's basically like raged, saying, "Where'd you get this gun? Where did you get it?" I thought that was pretty on point. But it was here that I think it was brought back to, we live in a society where guns are dangerous, but if you own a gun, you have to be responsible because it's not just one person. It's a two-person deal. I thought that was a very interesting thing because usually whenever cartoons have that very special episode, it's very one-sided. And
they're going to hit you over the head with a mallet with it.
Regardless of how you feel about the gun issue, especially in this country, I think that we can all agree that telling people don't play with guns and be responsible with guns is something that everybody should know.
All around the world.
Never once do they ever say, guns are bad, get rid of them. They never say that. And anybody who says they said that is either interpreting and putting something in there that's not there or, whatever. But yeah, I think this episode hits a very nice balance. And to me, it's just a good half hour of drama. And I love the way that it ends with Goliath and Broadway standing guard at Elisa's window.
Very poignant.
This weird hospital with diagonal windows. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do those places ever exist? I've never seen one before.
Looks good though for the screen.
It does. It's a great episode. I think it's one of the strongest of the first season. And,
I think we've had two that have been really good back to back.
The audacity of it, I think, is really something to marvel at because
so early on in the show's history too. So early on, that's where the audacity is. This isn't season 4. This is season.
Oh no,
1.
This is like what 6 or 7 episodes in.
I think 8 episodes.
8 episodes in. Yeah, they were just like, let's do the gun episode. Let's shoot one of our main characters. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. That'll be good for ratings.
That'll be, nobody in America will have a problem with that at all. What's that shrieking sound outside? But yeah, that's it. That's Deadly Force. That's the partially banned, mostly edited, and highly controversial first season episode where Elisa gets freaking shot by one of the main characters.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, personally.
Yeah, it is. It's now. I after watching that episode, I go, oh, okay. I'm really getting to understand the depth that they're going to go to in the show. They're really going to try and tackle some big things. So and not in the. There are times you could have argued in this episode maybe it was at the cost of the story, but I thought the story held up.
I think so too.
Being the backbone of the moral that they were trying to tell.
I think so too. But regardless, everybody, I do hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, subscribe, and check the video description below to join our Patreon. You can join for as little as $5 a month. And the more you join, the more you give, the more time we can do and watch cartoons. The more time we can do. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah,
So,
kinda.
for myself and for my friend, ladies and gentlemen, join us next time for another exciting adventure on Jalapeña, a Gargoyles Garcast.
Pew 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 pew
Pew
pew
pew
pew
pew pew
pew
pew
pew pew.
pew 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 bang.
Murder.
Murder Bean. Murder Bean would shoot me, but she'd do it on purpose.
Yep.